Why use Latinx, Latine, when Latin already is a real word and is gender neutral? As a Latino, I thought it was already common knowledge that Latinx is a dumb made-up term that no actual Latinos approve of. I have literally never heard anyone use Latinx, except to complain about the use of Latinx. As a Latino, I have had this discussion many times with both Spanish and non-Spanish people. It's my understanding that Latinx is made to be a verbal protest to gender norms that come with Spanish. I phrase it this way because we are aware X isn't in the Spanish language. However, I have also found this term to be used more frequently by third-generation and later Latin people in the US, many of which do not speak Spanish. Thus the X doesn't bother them. This is where Latine comes into play. E does exist in the Spanish language. Thus adding an E makes a gender-neutral term that satisfies both neutrality and language rules. Lastly, why Latine versus Latin? Because you're Spanish, you've gotta end in a vowel. Quote, if someone else already said this, or said this better, give them credit. Latinx sounds stupid and I'm American, Mexican rolling on the floor laughing. Porque si tú dices, Latin, todo mundo pensará que hablas lenguaje puro si dices Latino. Latina. Latín sabemos que te estás refiriendo a las personas. Suena poco natural decir Latin porque en el español muchas palabras tienen género y sin el a, o, e. Al final de la palabra su significado puede variar. If you ask 100 people, what does Latin mean, at least 99 of them will say, it's the dead language the Romans spoke. So to call a person a Latin sounds really unnatural to us. It's like calling a person a Spanish. Like, you can call a person a Spaniard. Sure. But a Spanish would sound bizarre. You can pick any signifier you want. There's no reason not to call this group of people Sensomes. For Central and South Americans, it's simply a matter of building consensus, which usually starts with them picking the label. And Latinos and Latinas are unlikely to pick Latins because, well, they speak a gendered language. They don't typically see anything innately wrong or anti-feminist about the very existence of a gendered language. Keep in mind, nobody in Latin America really uses this. Everyone just says Latino or Latina. Maybe you'll find someone that says Latine, but gender neutrality is extremely dodgy to use and not widely accepted. As to why English-speaking people say it, I wish I knew. Everyone I know here in Latin America hates it. Just say Latino, Latina or Latin American. I agree that saying Latin should be a thing because almost no one speaks Latin anyway, but it turns out you can't force language to evolve like that. As far as I can tell, in Spanish, Latin, with no trailing vowel, refers to the dead language, not to people of Latin American descent. Redefining it would likely be confusing and unpopular. I thought Latine had growing acceptance among actual Spanish speakers. Though only white American college kids use Latinx non-ironically. It's a virtue signaling word and not something any Latinos actually want or need. In Spanish, the terms are Latino and Latina. Because Spanish is a gendered language, queer Latin people created the term because they didn't feel like binary genders properly represented them. White people picked it up for a variety of reasons. Like, it's easier than Latina and Latino. Or, they didn't feel comfortable with disagreeing with the people pushing it. I'm white and I did this. Some, like me again, believed we use Latin instead of Hispanic because Brazil isn't of Spanish descent. They're Portuguese descendants. Some probably wanted to be more woke than thou. Regardless, it's an uncomfortable term and people have generally dropped it. I think AOC still uses it, but it's not mainstream. Latin is a language. Latinx and Latine are not real words. So call us Latin Americans in English or gente linda in Spanish. My GF is Mexican. She personally finds Latinx ridiculous because it's hard to pronounce and feels weird, but she loves the term Latine. She says the reason for this is that yes, Latino is masculine, but also gender neutral, it's still masculine. She thinks it's ridiculous that in English we adapt terms all the time, but Spanish can't for some reason. We are currently changing terms in English to be less male-centric. Like airman is flight crew or fireman is firefighter. It's a complex situation, but basically it's just changing certain words to be less masculine when it should be gender neutral. Everyone will have different opinions on this, obviously. As an actual Latina that lives in Latino America, so I use Spanish in my day-to-day. Latin means the language, and unlike Roman people, it's just a different thing. By the way, in my country we use Latine and other gender-neutral words like nosotros and todos. BC non-binary people exist, and we need a truly gender-neutral conjugation in Spanish. It is mostly used by people under 35. I do think Latinx is dumb. BC, it's like unpronounceable in Spanish. Political correctness. Every single Latino I know despises the term Latinx. I've only ever heard it pushed by white people. Latin person here. It's wrong. Unless it's used with a non-binary person. And even though it may sound offensive to the person, our general is masculine. To-dos, amigos, buenos, etc. Here's an idea. Bear with me. How about white Americans leave the naming of other ethnic groups to the members of those groups? While you're at it, you can leave their language heritage alone too. You can't decide on your own language rules, leave theirs alone. Latinx is just a word used by ignorant and racist white people. You can say Latino or even better, Hispanic. Absolutely no one in Latin America accepts or uses that racist slur that doesn't even make sense. In the Spanish language, the masculine ending in Spanish is already the neuter ending. I don't see there needs to be a new word. Because white people want to butcher the language and impose these non-existent problems on our cultures.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.